This question gets a little convoluted, but I'm going to just take it right off the prompter here. What would you do if you turned the corner and saw a pit bull killing a Cocker Spaniel? Would you discharge your weapon or find a brick, a knife, or a weapon of any sort and kill the pit bull? And what would the legal repercussions be? Now, before the keyboards light up and everyone gets mad at us, I want to let you know we have a gun giveaway going on right now. You can enter for free, but it ends really soon. Just click the link in the description down below to find out which brand new gun you could win. Tom, this is fraught with peril.
Yes, it is.
This entire discussion here. You come around the corner, as you do, and you see one dog. I'm not even going to talk about breeds of dogs because that's just going to open that can of worms.
Yep.
See one dog killing another dog, and you decide to intervene. Legal repercussions. Wow. I'm thinking lots.
Right. I mean, aside from being canceled on the internet for doing this video,
Yes.
Okay. Well, one is, can you lawfully discharge your firearm wherever you are? Many jurisdictions, states, counties, municipalities, so forth, have restrictions about discharging a firearm within X number of feet or yards of a dwelling. Mm-hmm. So that's one issue. Okay, is just, are you locationally prohibited? Now, typically, those statutes will have some sort of carve-out where if you're acting in self-defense or defense of another, then you're good to go. The issue here is the fact that animals are not considered to be people from a lawful perspective.
Right.
So if you are discharging your firearm, the typical carve-out defense to those statutes, presumably, check your local listings, but presumably will not apply. So that's one way that you can get into trouble.
Yeah, you're supposed to be using your gun for imminent threat to death or great bodily harm to yourself or another person or persons.
Right.
Again, protecting an animal might be the right thing to do in your mind, but protecting an animal with gunfire in a city might not be the legal thing to do.
Well, that pretty much caps the video, I guess. But
no,
you're absolutely true.
I'm getting smart. I've been working with you long enough.
This is scary. This is like watching AI learning happen. Yeah. So that's fundamentally the issue here, from kind of an esoteric position, which is the fact that all of our firearm laws, when it comes to exemptions from sensitive places and all that kind of stuff, we're talking about those statutory carve-outs, whether we're talking about self-defense, defense of other, necessity privileges, and so forth, they're generally keyed in on people. Mm-hmm. This is not a people question, and I realize that that is going to be deeply offensive to a number of folks out there. I'm the messenger on this. I didn't write these laws. So.
My dog is my family. Well, not in the eyes of the law.
Exactly. So the issue is going to be the fact that the legal recourse here, we're going to be looking at defensive property issues. Okay. Now, could you try to, let's just go down the rabbit hole here. Could you try to, rather than using your firearm, kick the attacking dog off? Mm-hmm. Sure. Because generally speaking, when you're talking about defensive property, now there may be issues of the dog it's attacking presumably isn't your property. This is just two dogs going at it.
Right.
One of them's winning. Without bringing breeds into this, you may be able to infer which dog is which, or it's just taking it too far and you're just trying to save a dog's life, period, whatever, right? Yeah. So maybe you try to kick it off and now that dog attacks you. Different situation. Could a prosecutor try to say that self-defense ought not apply because you provoked the attack? That could be something that you're looking at here. And again, I'm not saying that because I condone that position. I'm introducing the variables that are in play. Yeah. So because we cannot use self-defense or defense of other if we did something to provoke that issue, provoke the encounter, provoke the incident. So the argument from the prosecutor would be, well, look, you just had under the law, two pieces of property that were attacking one another, and you decided to insert yourself, and that escalated it now to a position where you could no longer use self-defense. Now, you could try to say, well, look, sure, oftentimes you can regain the right to self-defense if you try to retreat or to withdraw. Again, check your local listings. So this can get into a very murky calculation of this law applies here, but not when this happens, but it still applies when you do this and that happens, but then you do this next to try to recolor your right to self-defense in your favor. Just at the end of the day, it's a mess. And that's a really awful situation to find yourself in, to be clear, just categorically, from a ruining your day, week, month, whatever it might be, both for you as well as the victim animal, but also from a legal exposure where there may not be, depending upon the culture of local law enforcement, and I'm particularly talking about the prosecution here, if they're going to look at you as some sort of vigilante, you might be biting off a lot more than you thought you were when you went to go help the losing dog.
Yeah, and now at the risk of making this video go way too long, in researching some cases and things out there, there was just a case in California of a man who was mauled to death by a pack of dogs.
Right.
And I believe that the follow-up happening in the case was the bystander who drove the dogs away with a stick then got into an altercation with the owner of the dogs, and lots of things happening go round and round. But if you come around that corner and that dog is not attacking another dog but attacking another person, then opens up an entirely different situation.
That's a different situation. Yeah. And now we're talking about defensive third person and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean that there may not be issues from an aggressive prosecutor.
Yeah.
Rest assured, the owner of those dogs will invariably come out and give a very different recollection of the events to law enforcement when they come and they're taking witness statements. And rest assured, if you used force against their dog who was attacking this innocent man, their recollection of the events is not going to be something that's legally helpful to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again. Always great insight, Tom. Really love talking about these topics with you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Want to know the 3 biggest mistakes when carrying a handgun? Then click on the video next to me to reveal all 3 mistakes. Mistake number 2 may shock you. Everybody has their own cardinal rules for what they're going to do when they're carrying a gun. But right now, I'm going to give you 3 things that you must never do